Micah 6:8 says, "What does the Lord your God require of you?" Right? To love justice, to do mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. The preposition matters. Any English teachers in here? The preposition matters when we think about our relationship and our walk. Because sometimes we can get into a mindset where we want to walk for God, or maybe that we're going to do things in order to walk to God. But He's invited us to walk with Him, alongside of Him, in constant conversation and relationship. And that's what I think these parables, when we see how they come to life and what Jesus is teaching the people, is He's calling them out of religion and into relationship. And we can have religious devotion all day long and feel really good about ourselves, like we've checked the boxes and we're doing the things and we're doing it all the way that we're supposed to. But Christ has enabled us to a relational devotion, which is very different. In religious devotion, the focus may be on God, but it's also on us. Can we secure, can we generate, can we manufacture a righteousness or a reason that God would love us? And Christ says, I've already done it. I've already done it. Now, what I want for you is to experience the commitment and the love the Father has for you, and that you can walk in a relationally devoted way with the Father. Not for Him, and not in order to get to Him, but to walk with Him. He's called us into relationship, not into a religion, not into a series of checklists. It's like, imagine that you want to be a good gardener. And so you get the manual, you get this book on gardening. Anybody ever bought a book on gardening? And there's all these things about the soil and the kind of water and whether to do raised beds or cultivate your own soil and what kind of fertilizer to bring in and all this kind of prep, right? And then there's the watering system, how often to water, and then sun exposure. But then you get into this interesting thing about organizing your garden. Like some things need to go next to other things, and other things need to be away from other things. And so you start reading through, and you're studying the diagrams that are in this book, and you don't really know why things are supposed to go in the places, but you know where they're supposed to go. So you start to organize, and you put your cucumbers here, and your marigolds over here, and you got some corn, and you've got it all plotted out, and you just run through the checklist, and now you're doing the garden the way you're supposed to do the garden. And imagine that life versus you get to meet the person who wrote the book, and you're not even given the book, but you're invited to go and spend a season with the gardener who wrote the book. And you every day you go out into the garden, and he says, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put the marigolds over here because marigolds, they're going to keep away certain pests from these flowers over here and these vegetables here. So we plant them there. Plus, it just looks beautiful. Aren't they beautiful? The gold. I love the marigolds. And then we're going to put these over here because of the wind that comes in. And these ones need a little bit more sun. And because the tree's here, we're going to have this. And, oh, have you tried this one? Oh, man, try a little bit of this tomato. It's gorgeous. Oh, man, so sweet. And now you start to understand what He's doing, why He's doing it. And rather than just going through the checklist, you start to realize that there's a delight that the gardener has in organizing it this way, and there's a reason behind it, rather than just checking through the boxes. And sometimes I think that we attend to our walk with the Lord, and we attend to it more of a walk for the Lord, that we're doing this stuff because He really likes it when we do this stuff. And so we're trying to please Him, not recognizing that His intention in us reading and praying and fasting and tithing and fellowshipping and sacrificing for other people and putting them before ourselves, all of these things are actually meant for our good, so that we can experience the delight of the Father and walk and enjoy all of the creation that He's put us in. You think back to Genesis 1 and 2. When He creates Adam and Eve, He puts them in a garden to work it and to keep it. But then we read in Genesis 3, in the very beginning of Genesis 3, it describes God coming into the garden in the cool of the day. And it gives this impression that what the regular practice is that God would come into the garden into the evenings. And as they're sitting there, they're looking at the garden, and you get this impression that God had this ongoing fellowship with Adam and Eve. And they would probably walk through the garden and talk about, okay, what do we want to do with these apple trees over here? Do we like those? I mean, maybe we'll take some and we'll plant some over here. What do you think about what's going on over here? And they would have this conversation, and they were gardening together. And they were in a relationship. It wasn't as though God put Adam and Eve in the garden and said, here's the checklist, now get to work. But they were created to do this with him, to be a part of the creation project. And that's the same thing we see with Jesus. When he goes to his first disciples, he doesn't say, okay, Peter, James, John, Andrew, I want you guys to go and get busy. I need you guys to hit that town first and then that one and get to work. What does he say? Come, let's go. Come with me. We got lots to do together. And so he invites them with him into a walk with. Not for, not to, but with. He's inviting us into this. And so when we pray, it's invited into ongoing conversation. As we navigate this world, we're given the opportunity to be in constant conversation with the creator of this world, so that when we face challenges or things that confuse us and we have to figure out how we're going to navigate this, we're in an ongoing dialogue with the creator of the universe. And we have to allow ourselves to realize that prayer isn't just this thing when you're actually on your knees and you fold your hands and you close your eyes really tight and you bow your head. Do you realize you can pray when you don't look like that? You can actually pray with your eyes open. Crazy. It's hard because sometimes you get distracted, so I get why we close our eyes. But we have to be careful that we don't relegate prayer to this thing that we do only when I can be in that one spot or I have total silence, but that we are in ongoing conversation with the Lord. And so when you have that drive or that commute and you have a little bit of windshield time, rather than turning on the radio or making a call, just talk to the Lord. Just talk it out. Have a conversation about what's going on, what's frustrating you, what you're afraid of. Just begin to have conversation. When you drive by somebody who has a flat tire or there's sirens, just have a conversation. Lord, what's going on over there? Is there anything you want me to do about that? How can I pray for them? I hope they know you. And you can just have an ongoing conversation. But I think sometimes we get into kind of this religious mindset and we think that there's this way that things have to be as we engage with God, and we don't realize that he's created these things so that we can walk with him, not for him, as though it's a performance, and he's going to grade us at the end of the day and see how we did. But all of these activities are meant to draw us into closer fellowship.